What's up, fam of liberty, and also everyone else watching this video who isn't following our channel for some unknown reason? It's your boy Big Sarge, or the artist formerly, not formerly, known as A.T.E.A.M. I'm the founder of the Sons of Liberty social media organization that's been steadily enraging MAGA fuckface ass clowns since 2015, and more recently, super woke leftists who thought I was just gonna ignore them too. If you saw us out in the streets at a protest for the first time or you're new to our channel, I know what you might be thinking. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. If you know the words, sing along. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck neo-Nazi illegal immigrant Elon Musk. Fuck GOP politicians. Fuck all these establishment limp dick Democrats that aren't out there in the streets fighting for us tooth and nail. And fuck the billionaires, the wealth hoarders that have their fucking boots on the neck of just about every American citizen. Neither this channel nor its comment sections are a safe space for right-wing bootlicking simps for a Russian asset, convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, warmongering fascist oligarch, failed insurrectionist, wannabe authoritarian tyrant, or his sugar daddy, the world's biggest supervillain, thin-skinned, beta bitch-made man-child cuck from South Africa that nobody fucking elected and thankfully seems to have fucked off. Now you know where I stand on things, so if you're still here and you're not frantically rage typing in the comments box like a triggered conservative snowflake who's ass mad about immigrants getting their day in court or whatever fucking due process that you hate because you hate the Constitution and you don't know a fucking thing about it, then maybe stick around, watch this video, and decide whether or not you like the cut of my jib. And if you don't know what a jib is, yeah, I mean, you know what? You can fucking Google it. On a day-to-day basis, there is so much bad news in the dystopian hellscape in which we live, aka the dumbest timeline, that the Sons of Liberty admins and staff can't possibly cover every single thing. I would have to do multiple videos per day, and I don't have that kind of energy, nor do I have that kind of creativity or time, or being educated enough on every single issue and make rant-filled videos. In a recent live stream, I jokingly asked Admin Doug, aka Drill Sergeant, why he has a writing staff and I don't. I'm literally standing up here making shit up for like an entire hour to distill down into a single video that hopefully is around 10 minutes, but frequently is not. So with that in mind, on that note, I've very often talked about the Sons of Liberty organization and how it's based on and centered around our Discord server, which I know a lot of you are not tech savvy and some of you got on Discord and then got off Discord. And then there's like a small few of you who got kicked from our Discord for Fed posting or other forms of douchebaggery. So this is actually aimed at creatives who can and are using Discord. I want to stand up a writing team that can help me crank out more rant videos. As I've said in the past, none of our social media is monetized, and yes, we've tried. Our content is branded as dangerous or whatever. So basically it's an all volunteer thing. We've also posted on this YouTube channel and occasionally on TikTok and Facebook some videos that our White Rose and WhiskeyLeaks propaganda teams have created. A small few of you were like, but the voices are AI, ignoring the fact that text-to-speech emulators have been a thing since the mid-1990s because I've been using them. Oh, you meant the small handful of images and the small handful of videos that they've done? I hear what you're saying, and here's my response. I am 100% a creative person. I'm a musician, a writer, an author, and an artist. My best works are actually drawing dicks on porta potties and foreheads, but that's beside the point. I'm digressing, aren't I? But also, I'm an indie filmmaker. An award-winning indie filmmaker. And now apparently I'm a social media content creator, which is a thing that I used to laugh at until someone called me a content creator and Zennial explained it to me. I am personally against using AI, but if it can be weaponized to fight the people pushing it on us, and let's not pretend that there's not a heavy tech broligarchy pushing AI on us, because tech broligarchs are essentially frat boys, and we all know how frat boys love rape. I mean, I'm presuming, like I've read news stories about it, and that's generally the stereotype is, don't get drunk at a frat party and have a vagina at the same time. Anyway, there's also tech broligarchs that are successfully lobbying Congress to let them do it at our expense. If it can be weaponized to fight this administration and their tech broligarch masters, I'm not above using it to fight back. But more importantly, here's the subtext of my response to the critics. Join our fucking team so we don't have to. Literally everyone on our WhiskeyLeaks team is doing their best with the skills, or lack of skills, that they have or don't have. We need creatives to help engage. And yeah, I get it. Nobody wants to do art for free, especially after a movement, which I support and participate in, of being paid for your creativeness. But my question is, do you want to die at the hands of an authoritarian regime because you made art that criticized them? Or Do you want to fight the power and make art in a thriving democracy? Anyway, that's my stance, and I'll be referring people back to this specific video whenever I hear it. And if that rustles your jimmies and makes you mad, but I digress again. Or maybe I'm not, because the tone of the video so far has been getting more involved in the fight to resist tyranny and fascism, and that's in keeping with what this video topic is actually about, or what I intended it to be about, which is a convenient segue, and not the little mall cop scooter, into the topic of ICE, or La Migra, and helping our immigrant citizenry. First and foremost, the Constitution of the United States applies to everyone physically in this country, and that includes people who entered the country illegally. Due process is a thing, and it's protected by the Constitution. Due process is how people face justice, and that includes undocumented workers, or illegal immigrants, or any other terms that are probably more racist that some people want to use. So for an illegal immigrant to get due process, they have to go to court. That's how due process works. If you're snatching them off the streets as they're on their way to court, that's a violation of their constitutional rights. I know that almost everyone watching this video who shares my ideological wagon already knows this, but on occasion I get some MAGA fuckface ass clowns who stumble fuck their way across a video that I've done, so I also include content that they can hopefully understand, although in reality that's a pipe dream. Recently, one of the Sons of Liberty admins, probably admin Jen because she's our resident queen of memes, posted a thing on our socials. It was essentially just a screenshot of a tweet or something that basically said we could start dressing up as ICE agents and escorting people from their immigration hearings so that it looks like they've already been detained, but we just give them a ride home. And my jaw hit the floor because I don't know if you know this or not, but in addition to all the other creative things that I do, I also make props and wardrobe for my indie films. And I also cosplay as a Warhammer 40k Dark Angel Space Marine with my son Frankie, pick for attention. Anyway, I saw that and I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? And just this morning, I read a news article that claims gangs in Los Angeles have declared a ceasefire and a truce and have been escorting Angelinos to their court hearings. And I'm over here like, well fuck, if they can do it, then so can we. And a lot of you in my comment sections, not just on YouTube, but elsewhere, and also in person, have basically said something to the effect of, when are we gonna do fuck shit that goes beyond protesting? And the answer is, now, motherfucker. I said before in other videos that white people need to use their privilege to help out people that are being targeted by this administration. And in last night's live stream, we talked with Sonny from Tell the People, who is an absolute dream, and admin Doug, who mentioned that this fight we're in right now needs to be led by white people. So circling back to Discord, on the Sons of Liberty Discord today, this morning, I posted a server announcement and an internal Fam of Liberty announcement, both saying the same thing. We're now actively looking into more direct action forms of activism that include dressing up, walking the walk, not saying shit to nobody that isn't with us, and making sure that due process is given to every single immigrant or asylum seeker or undocumented migrant who asks for it. We're looking to partner up with other organizations that share similar beliefs as ours, such as the 50501 Veteran Organization, Veterans for Peace, and other groups like that. And to be clear, I understand that this isn't for everyone, but I'm going to quote something that you may or may not know about. In December of 1964, Mario Savio gave a speech commonly called the Machine Speech during the free speech movement at University of California, Berkeley. A portion of this speech was sampled by one of my favorite metal bands, Fear Factory, before they got rid of everyone except Dino Cazares. This is that portion of Mario's speech. There is a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. I've said in past videos more than once that the American struggle for civil rights was not a bloodless, nonviolent thing. I've said that we have sanitized the civil rights struggle to make it palatable for white liberals to feel good about themselves and their internet slacktivism, or going out and taking Instagram selfies at protests to show how woke they are. That's not enough, white people. And to be clear, I'm not talking about Sons of Liberty direct actions being violent. I gotta point that out for the pearl clutchers in the Sons of Liberty who've left Sons of Liberty for thinking that we're about that violent shit. But what I am saying, you can't just go out there and peacefully protest on a sidewalk and shitpost memes or share memes and expect that to work. The changes that you are seeing, The very, very slow changes, if any at all, are not coming from your meme sharing. They're not even really coming about because of all the protests. It isn't just the protests. Elon Musk left the Trump administration in part because boycotts and destruction of Tesla vehicles had gotten so bad that Tesla's stock is fucking tanking. Now, granted, it also didn't help that he's a weirdo drug addict who got into a fist fight with actual Trump administration cabinet members, of which Elon was not one. But my original point was, it's not just the protests that make changes. Sometimes you gotta do fuck shit, not necessarily getting into a fist fight. But not necessarily getting to a fist fight. March 7th, 1965 in Selma, Alabama, also known as Bloody Sunday, was a violent confrontation during a peaceful march. White vigilantes and Alabama state troopers brutally attacked civil rights activists. That single event made nationwide news, and then it got picked up overseas. President Lyndon B. Johnson is said to have remarked that this would absolutely torpedo foreign relations if the United States did not do something. Johnson proposed that Congress get its shit together and pass comprehensive voting rights legislation. The Voting Rights Act, which aimed to eliminate obstacles preventing Black Americans from voting, was signed into law less than 6 months later on August 6, 1965. That's the story that we've been told, but that's not actually how that worked. See, that wasn't the first march, nor was it the last. And they weren't protesting. They were going to register to vote. How it started was that Black people marched in large groups because they believed that the cops couldn't beat the shit out of every last one of them. Some people would get through. They knew that they had to march as a large group to make the governor pay attention. Racist white people are afraid of large groups of angry Black people. It's ingrained in their DNA because they know that they're mediocre white people who only stay in charge of shit by racist oppression. So what happened after that Bloody Sunday march was that they had a second march. Then they had a third march, and this time Black people showed up with sticks, bricks, and other cans of whoop ass for the cops, and they made it across. You know who organized that march? Martin Luther King Jr., with the help of some badasses who were down to open a can of find out whoop ass if anybody fucked around. A lot of people like to talk about Martin Luther King and his stance on nonviolence. In his book, Letters from a Birmingham Jail, Martin Luther King makes it clear that he understood that civil disobedience and direct action were required, not just marching and protesting to bring awareness. He understood that you have to make people uncomfortable and cause chaos, and sometimes that would involve maybe breaking the law a little bit. I'll spare you from having to go look it up. One passage says, "I have earnestly opposed violent tension, but there is a type of constructive, nonviolent tension which is necessary for growth. And also, nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that the community, which has constantly refused to negotiate, is forced to confront the issue." And oh, by the way, he also wrote, "One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws." I would agree with St. Augustine that an unjust law is no law at all. By the way, one of the people who worked with Martin Luther King on that third march was a United States Marine veteran of World War II named Robert F. Williams. And Robert F. Williams wrote the book Negroes with Guns that influenced the Black Panthers. Robert F. Williams also engaged the KKK in gun battles to a point where the KKK never ever fucked with Black people in the town of Monroe, North Carolina, which is just southeast of Charlotte. And then the Freedom Rides started operating out of that very same town because nobody fucked with them. So what does that mean for Sons of Liberty and what I'm trying to accomplish here? I'm 100% down to cosplay ICE and escort immigrants to and from their court appearances. I am 100% down to build an intelligence and reconnaissance network to put eyes on and eyes inside courthouses in advance of someone's hearing date to make sure the coast is clear. There is nothing, and I'll say that again, there is nothing illegal about wearing civilian clothes and walking in a tight group and moving with a purpose. I'm also down to leverage our member base to build coalitions with other like-minded groups and to get unofficial, under-the-table advice from immigration attorneys and nonprofits to make sure that we're doing right. So if you're down to join a posse of constitutional advocates run by combat veterans and progressive-minded people who support human rights and civil rights, then get on the Sons of Liberty Discord server and let's saddle the fuck up. I'm thinking of calling it Anti-Tyrannical Emergency Actions for Migrants or American Tactical Emergency Action Militia, which if you put those letters into an acronym, it spells
still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A.T.E.A.M.
I love it when a plan comes together. If you're down to do fuck shit and reappropriate LARPing ICE from the right-wing fuckfaces, then I want you on my team. You don't need to be a veteran, you just need to have some mobility and be prepared to catch charges if and when the fascist bootlickers decide that they want to try to violate your civil rights too. Catch me outside, how about that? Listen, it's up to you to decide how much of this authoritarian bullshit you can take. Me personally, I talk a lot of shit in videos, but I'll also put my body and my life on the line to back up the things that I believe. And I think it's time that we start examining more direct action ways of resisting tyranny, because they don't like to stick around when we the people decide that we've had enough of their bullshit. Nobody's afraid of memes on the internet, but we're already seeing them running away when we do more proactive things like calling the cops and telling them that a bunch of masked armed terrorists might be about to set shit off. We're seeing them back down when they're vastly outnumbered. You want to be free or what? You want to stop tyranny or what? You want to talk a big game about the civil rights of immigrants or just run your mouth on the internet? And like I have consistently said, activism doesn't just mean go out there and do protests or direct action stuff. You can still be an integral and valued part of a thing that doesn't require you to go outside or put boots on the ground. So don't feel bad if you physically or mentally can't handle any of those parts. All we need is your support and maybe finding a different role for you in the struggle. That is my time for today. I'm skipping the usual closing disclaimers. Big Sarge out here. 2 claps and a Rick. Chingo amigra, motherfuckers. Woo!
And now it's time for the Throatpunch!